Stephen Willis. Jesse Prince's claim that once David Miscavige and Pat Broker had become Hubbard's gatekeepers in his final years, they would occasionally skim money out of the suitcases of cash that LRH would have delivered to him in hiding. Once in a while, they'd visit Las Vegas and stay in luxury suites, or they'd buy expensive clothing or jewelry, including a notorious rumor of a diamond-encrusted cigarette lighter. My question is how credible you think the story is. As much as Jesse Prince is awesome, do you think it is realistic that the pair were actually plundering Hubbard's suitcases, or did they have enough power within Scientology that they could essentially get church funds for any mission they pleased, and as long as Hubbard's suitcases were full, he didn't have to know about it? Well, there's a lot more to Jesse Prince's story than just a little bit that was in your question, so I think I would say that I definitely believe Jesse Prince's rendition of the events, because he wasn't just talking about this as though he was there sort of observing this from the side. Jesse Prince actually had David Miscavige on the meter doing sec checking on him at L. Ron Hubbard's orders, because it was thought that, according to Jesse, that L. Ron Hubbard had suspicions about David Miscavige, and it was thought that Miscavige might have been skimming from the till and might have been up to some no good because of some of his behavior. It was a bit weird and odd, and Hubbard was like, what's up with this? And of course, David Miscavige was working in collusion with Pat Broker. Now, what I understand happened, and I don't pretend to have all the details, I wasn't there, but what I understand from Jesse Prince is that Prince was sec-checking Miscavige, writing reports, getting the goods on how he and Pat Broker had been spending money. And they were spending that money because they didn't have full, easy access to just take money for missions or projects or something whenever they wanted. I think it was a little more difficult than that. The Scientology purse strings are controlled pretty tightly. And Miscavige, when Hubbard was still around, was not in the same dictatorial authoritarian position that he is in now as the leader of the church. He could walk into any org now that he wanted to and say, I'll empty your reserves and give it to me now, and people would do it. Back then, he wasn't really in that position. Outside of international management, nobody knew who the hell he was, for example. So, all of his fame and fortune and glory came after Hubbard died. So during this time, Miscavige was not a lower-level employee. He was at the international base, but he wasn't king of the world, so to speak. He hadn't yet taken over RTC, that sort of thing. So he's, he and Pat Broker are kind of going off on these spending sprees, gambling sprees in Vegas, and he's coughing all of this to Jesse Prince because he knows that the jig is up. He's caught, he's busted, right? He knows it's coming. And Jesse Prince had all the goods on him and had written reports on this, and they were supposed to go up to Hubbard. But Pat Broker apparently stopped them because Hubbard never saw them, and then Hubbard died. So, the goods weren't really gotten to the person who needed to issue the orders to remove Miscavige and take him down. So Miscavige and Broker, had their little struggle after Hubbard died, and Miscavige got rid of Broker and took over, and then he took over RTC, which is where Jesse Prince was posted, and he ousted him, right? And that's a whole story, which I think Jesse Prince will be telling in his own, book. So that's all that I, would know about on an immediate basis. But knowing all of that, I absolutely believe that that's what he was up to. Whether he bought a jewel-encrusted lighter or not, I don't know. I don't care. Whether he had a couple financial problems, Miscavige did, and that was one of them. I think there was another one, and I can't remember if it was before or after Hubbard died, where Miscavige did an investment of some kind, an oil or stock or gold investment or something that totally tanked, lost all kinds of money for the church, and that didn't go so well for him either. But anyway, yeah, that's my take on all that.